All-you-can-eat buffet workers, what are your horror stories? Not a horror story, just funny. I worked at Wendy's when they had salad bars. You could get a single serving bowl. They used to serve eat-in chili in styrofoam bowls, and the large doubled as a chili bowl, or all-you-can-eat platters. The taco salad bottom plate. On a slow afternoon, this guy came in and got a single serving bowl. After a few minutes, our manager motioned to me and the sandwich guy to discreetly take a look at the salad he was making. The guy had filled the bowl with salad, then made a ring of overlapping cucumber slices to extend the lip of the bowl upwards. He filled that with salad, then added another ring. It took several minutes to build this thing, but by the time he'd finished, he had a tower of salad well over a foot tall, multiple rings of cucumber slices containing it. That salad was an engineering marvel. He carefully carried it back to his table, sat down, then looked up guiltily as our manager walked out to him. The manager handed him a free item coupon, and said, "That is the most impressive salad I have ever seen. Your next one is on me." I have read about this practice before. The article below describes the act in Chinese Pizza Huts. Kotaku.com edit, change the link. I read a similar story, I think at a Chinese buffet that served all-you-can-eat rice meat veggie bowls, in the last buffet stories thread. It's amazing how far people will go for a little more shitty food. I think it says a lot about the quirks of human psychology and how evolutionary hoarding traits are still buried in our brains, where the instant you say free X or $10 for unlimited X, some people's instinctive reaction is, how can I exploit this to get way more of that nearly worthless stuff than I could ever need in a trillion lifetimes? Picked up some fish and chips recently. Saw they had all you can eat on Wednesdays. So I asked what is the most that someone. 18 pieces of fish and 3 plates, she held up this huge platter of fries every single Wednesday? So he eats that exact order every week. Yes, and he goes to a different all you can eat every day of the week. He got banned from the Chinese place down the road. That's kind of sad. Obviously an eating addiction. I agree, though I wonder if anything comes from that part of the brain that feels like they're winning by feeling like they're getting their dollar worth. Edit, I don't necessarily mean winning like games. A lot of people are taking it as a gambling comparison. Some people just really don't want to spend money on anything so they can feel like they get the most stuff out of their money. It's not always just about food. I sorta took it there by accident by mentioning taste. Kinda like people I know who never want to splurge for some good quality shit that tastes a lot better. They feel compelled to always only buy the cheapest thing. College friend worked at a Chinese buffet. He said they caught a regular dipping his pizza in the wonton soup bowl, like, in the queue and not at his table, and eating it. Bite dip, bite dip, bite dip. After the 4th time in a month he did it, management finally kicked him out. At one point I worked for a pizza place that used to have a day buffet that I would make pizzas for. One time 2 huge dudes come in the moment we opened for the buffet. The manager on duty dropped the first 2 pizzas down on the buffet, turned to grab the next 2, turned back and both pizzas were gone. A few minutes later both dudes walked back up and each take an entire pizza again and walked back to continue eating. They proceeded to do this over and over, grabbing an entire pizza each for themselves for the entire 3 hours we were offering the buffet. Was one hell of a day. Edit, with all the replies haha, big as in morbidly obese and Pizza Hut 2011 with regular dough, not thin, medium pizzas, 12 inches roughly 30 centimeters diameter, sized pizzas. I had a coworker that briefly managed a Ryan's buffet. He said that it was fairly common for people to gorge themselves, then purge in the restroom and start eating again so that they could get their money's worth. Leave it to Ryan's buffet, where the quantity is the goal and 8-year-old kids are 60 with mustaches. When you talk about something gross at a buffet, Ryan's is always there to say hold my beer. They legit just have ham sitting in boiled water. Hot ham water. So watery. And yet there's a smack of ham to it. I just love his delivery of that line. He's filled with amazement. Well, it's the first time Hess ever had something cooked for him in that house. I love when Lucille is like I've made you food before and Buster's like when someone died you gave us cereal in an ashtray. I worked at a Ruby Tuesday in Center City, Philly, first floor of the Liberty Place building. I had a couple that would come in about twice a week that requested me. They would gorge themselves at the salad bar for about an hour, ask for large glasses of water with no ice, then both would take the water into the bathroom. They would come out a few minutes later with empty glasses, ask for the check and leave. I finally put it together that they were bulimic after I walked in the women's bathroom and it smelled like vomit. Very polite folks and tipped well though. That's really sad. Frown. There was a fairly expensive restaurant in Dallas in the 80s called Southern Kitchen. About $25 per person back then with food served to the table. Really good stuff. They were famous for cinnamon rolls. The owner said had seen many women ruin expensive purses hiding those rolls. Man, I miss that place. That's about $60 in today's dollars, for anybody who cares. Hashtag X200B edit, thanks for the gold.
My subscription just ran out yesterday, D.
Yeah, it's not like Golden Corral or a regular buffet. It was much nicer. Obligatory, not a buffet worker, just a witness. We were waiting in line for the soft serve machine at Golden Corral. The woman in front of us gets up to the machine and awkwardly jerks the handle around in an attempt to get at the sweet ice cream within. She's pushing, pulling, twisting, doing literally everything but turning it to the right, which would have dispensed the ice cream. She's really perplexed by this. So she takes the next logical step, of course, which is to wrap her lips around the spout, form a seal on it with her mouth and start trying to suck it right out of the tap. One of the workers sees this and looks on in disgust before he unplugs the machine. On the way out, we see that he put an out of order sign on it, so thankfully they didn't keep serving it after that whole incident. Well, if you can't jerk it, then suck it. I bet she's real popular with the fellas. Except the guys who like it turned to the right. I was once at an old country buffet, waiting patiently to get some mac cheese. The kid in front of me plied his plate high, and then started tapping the serving spoon to get all of the chassis goodness free from the confines of the spoon. Once he was satisfied with his handiwork, he licked the spoon clean. I didn't have any mac cheese, and haven't been back since. What an asshole child. Me personally, I duckin' love me some mac and cheese. Hands would have been thrown if it were me. Wouldn't actually punch a kid, but man, it'd be pissed lamau. When is a customer to a Golden Corral? I'm walking to the chocolate fountain and 3 little girls step in front of me, and all 3 of them just go hands deep in the fountain. The family was the first table by the fountain and all they did was laugh about how cute it was. Employees turned it off immediately. At least they turned it off and I'm assuming didn't let anyone eat it anymore. For real. That could have been way worse if the employees had just laughed along with the parents. Say what you will about Golden Corral, but they definitely don't play around when it comes to their chocolate fountains. Feel like every story I hear about them is fountain was closed because some shit decided to Augustus gloop the thing. Sure, you might find boogers in the meatloaf, but if someone sneezes on the fountain side of the restaurant, that thing's getting shut down like it's Madagascar. I worked as a server at a Chinese buffet and 4 things came to mind instantly. 1. A middle-aged woman puked on her table and blamed it on giving herself the wrong insulin dose. The 4 mountains of food she destroyed probably contributed too. Profusely apologized and tipped me $1. 2. I tried to pick up a dirty plate off a table that had a big pool of hibachi sauce grease on it. The customer stopped me and said that's the best part. Then proceeded to drink the sauce like it was the milk after a bowl of cereal. 3. A young mother complained to me because the crab meat and cheese that we serve on the buffet made her child sick and they threw up. Her child was an infant. Not even a year old. I'm no child care expert, but baked artificial crab meat and mozzarella can't be good for a baby. 4. The restaurant was raided by ICE one morning shortly before opening. The entire back of the house and one of our managers were deported. Back of the house was 12 Chinese and 12 Latin American. So, did you close for the day when ICE swept through? 4 days. What state are you in? At the time I was in Murfreesboro, TN. Not an employee, but I was standing behind a woman at Hometown Buffet. She was getting some lasagna or something, basically a really cheesy pasta that when you lift the serving utensil, a lot of cheese hangs on. I witnessed her lift her pasta, twirl all the excess cheese that was connected around her index finger, and there was a lot, clip it off with her thumbnail, and then fling it back into the pasta. I knew I shouldn't have been at Hometown Buffet in the first place, but this solidified my stance to never go back. When I read and then fling it back into the pasta IGASPED edit, oh wow, my first silver. Right. I thought, okay, not a big deal, she's probably gonna stuff her face with greasy buffet cheese, oh god why. Really though, why fling it back in? Why?